He's located in Davidson, North Carolina, while serving all of North and South Carolina. He is the Mortgage Planner, the Carolina's #1 mortgage radio. Premium lending experience along with mortgage planning. Ranked top in the nation, here is your host, Brad Roche.
Welcome to The Plan. This is Brad Roche, the Mortgage Planner, joined with Jacob Roche. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Doing well.
Afternoon.
Glad to be here.
Good evening. Great day. We're in Mortgage Planner University series. Thank you for joining us. Wow, has it been a good series? Great feedback from clients already jumping in.
Yep, episode 6 already.
I love the emails we're getting back. People telling, the first one was good. The second one was good. There's a lot of, I thought the second one wasn't as good, but we got some feedback. It was.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the show, it was the content. Now, today's kind of fun. We've covered a lot. You know, I have the lineup here. Episode 1, credit, debt ratio, cash to close, choosing a loan. Episode 2, closing costs, break even point, when's too long, choosing an interest rate.
Episode 3, what we need to be organized, the process and what's happening, expectations of an average deal, and then negotiating the offer.
Yeah, rock and roll. In episode 4, controlling the mortgage, refinancing, and second mortgages, personal budget we hit in, and there's an extra link on the website for you.
Episode 5 was fun. Best, worst moves in real estate,
Yeah, we had a
and
good
making
time.
money.
That was a good time. And episode 6,
Yep,
here we are.
last one.
It kind of seems boring the way we list it out.
Got a lot to talk about,
Yeah,
but doesn't look like it.
Primary residence, second home, investment property. Now that seems kind of, you would have started at the beginning, but we're going to go a little deeper in the course here where it makes sense out of down payments.
Yep. So down payment, primary is always going to be the cheapest. So if you're going second home or investment property, that'll be 15% down or more. We recommend 20 to avoid paying extra points on it. 25 for the best terms, 25 to 30 is what they say. But primary home, 3.5% down FHA you can go. And then also conventional first-time home buyer can go 3% down. But if they're moving up, next house, another conventional loan, that would be 5%. So
you can also jump 0 down.
That's what I was going to bring up next.
Yeah, but how's that work? People think too good to be true, 0 down. What's the catches? You know, that's what I like to look at. It's like, why would you go 0 down? What am I getting hurt? Or what's the benefit? I mean, give me both. Give me the good news, bad news. But there's got to be a catch, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess on one, or 100% FHA or the 0 down FHA, a little bit more costlier, I would say, in rate,
Couple
points.
grand probably. You know, you got to pick a loan amount because the cost will change based on loan amount. But let's say $200,000 loan, couple grand easy, if not a quarter higher in the rate.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
See, what you have to understand on any of these programs, primary, secondary, or investment, or buying in an LLC, right? These all connect. You have to understand that in that mix, there's also a handful of programs, like a lot, and all come with different down payments. I've seen them buy a second home 10% down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what's the difference in a program that's not your traditional? What's traditional second home? I would say 20% down.
Yeah.
Has
I would
been
agree.
forever.
Yep.
Right. Since you've been doing it. Why do you say it, being newer in the business or in a few years tender in the business versus mine? Why do you say that that's the same?
I would say because recently I would say it's gone up. And that's what we've seen on average since I've started at least.
And why do people do it though? Pricing.
Yeah.
The money's cheaper.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's a big deal.
Yeah. Interest rate gets better. Points get better too.
Everything does.
More you put down, the lower the rate goes.
Well, think about when we price. Do you remember pricing went out? I might be off on the details, but this is a real life example. I remember running one and we were like, well, why don't you do, they were talking about doing not 20% down. I want to look at 15. And we ended up having to charge just because it costs more money, 2% more or 3%.
It was 4 points total.
It was crazy.
So
right?
really, it's 19% down when you look at it like that.
Yeah, but 4 of it went to junk costs.
Yep.
You have to watch just because they have a program out there for less down or maybe easier to get into. You may pay it the wrong way.
Yeah, I agree. So I mean, there are ways around it. Like we talked about getting 2% because it was an investment property, getting 2% from the seller. But even at that point, it's like financing the closing costs even.
I would agree. You have to compare programs. You remember we had talked a while back on buying a car or Jeep recently, right?
Yep.
And right out of the gate, they're offering me a 10% rate, and my credit doesn't suck.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm not taking that. And then they lowered it.
Yep,
And
sure
then I
enough.
even said, I'm not taking that. And I went, well, that's not the point of them doing that was the whole fact that I know the market somewhat, right? So when you're going into primary, secondary investment, what you're trying to do, you got to know the market a little bit.
Yeah.
You got to know what's out there, like what's normal, man.
But yeah, if you're going to buy a normal house, what would I be getting right now?
Yeah. So what's a normal second home? Well, what do you mean by normal? That's probably what somebody would say, right?
Yeah.
Well, what do most people do? What's the best priced loan? Maybe you would ask it that way. I would say.
Yeah, primary.
Yeah, well, no. What's the
Well-
best price loan? Like if I'm buying an investment property, I'm buying a second home, I'm buying a primary. What's the best rate and cost you have? Well, how do I get there?
Yeah.
720 credits. Well, if you had a 800 credit score, you were putting 25% down, then you're going to get the best deal on a lot of the stuff.
Yeah, agreed.
So we come back to cash is king. Down payment does make a difference. So you can see a lot of blogs, a lot of posts, a lot of text that says, hey, you don't need the traditional 20% down. In fact, I agree, and I would encourage you not to, because it builds your wealth quicker by grabbing equity by only having to invest 10, 15 grand on 400,000.
Yeah.
Right. We were reviewing this today. That's why I'm off the back of my
Yeah.
hand on it. We're looking at buying a $400,000 house, 3% down. Man, come on, 15 grand counting a little chump change in closing costs. Seller pays the difference. You're in a $400,000 investment, 300, call it what you want,
Yeah.
for not a lot of money out of pocket to get there,
Yeah.
for that net worth of yours to grow.
Yeah, and just for the audience out there, what we were talking about is I was looking either to get a second home or to move into a next one, and it was either 20% down for a second home in the mountains, or it's 5% going to a house. That would I would make my primary,
Fine.
renting out my last one.
Right.
So that was the discussion that we had heard.
Financially, it's better to move up because you're putting less dollars in as a primary occupant house, right?
Yeah,
I said desirable though is the mountain.
yeah,
You know what I
exactly,
mean?
for
And,
sure.
oh, it's not rented this weekend. So there has to be some happy medium. And we talked on one of my best investments that we covered last show. Wasn't a rental, man. So
That's true.
wow, and I'm arguing the other way with you today.
That's
Think
true.
about that.
I should have
That's
brought that
ironic.
up.
Yeah. Hey, why don't we replay your other show, Dad? You were talking different ways. Well, it's cheaper to get in. It's leveraging your money more.
Yeah.
That's really what I was getting at. So down payments vary.
Going in, I would be, let's call it $50,000 in just down payment alone, putting 20% down, or I can go 20, call it even 20,000 to be.
You don't even. That's counting a new car. You only needed like 12.5 to jump into a $400,000 house. 13 grand, right? 3%, 5%.
Yeah, exactly. So less cash out of my pocket. So it would make more sense for me to move.
Because then you could also have 40 grand using your number left over.
Yeah.
For what? Next investment? Well, I don't know.
Yeah. So I could go and
Improvements?
get pretty much double the real estate without putting as much down.
Yeah,
'Cause-
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now that's why I ran. Hey, would you rather have 300,000 or 700,000 invested at 4 or 5%? And you've only got to put in what a heck of a return.
Yeah.
12, 15 grand gets you a huge return when it's about off that base asset that's going up in appreciation.
Yeah, exactly.
It really, and that's where you're winning. So is zero down bad? No. Watch your ass. That's really the
Yeah.
answer on the cost. Watch it. Don't jump in just because they say, oh, that's you have to ask some questions or have a good advisor. Why I mentioned that mortgage planner, 704-412-2727. Go to fortheplan.com. We are covering, this one's going to be all over the place, but we're breaking down primary, secondary investment, going to touch LLC, going to hit a little on commercial and what different boat that is, getting into some of those vehicles. But you're listening to The Plan. You go to fortheplan.com. That'll get you into the university, or you can go to the university for the plan. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to The Plan. This is Jacob Roche here with my dad, Brad, the mortgage planner. Circling back onto what we were talking about. We were going into rate cost and difference about primary, second, and investment properties.
There's a good chunk there.
Yep.
I would say probably half a point is what you said off air. That's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
What's the difference? So if you're not buying primary and rates are at 7, what's an investment? 7.5.
Yeah, 7.5.
That's fair. Now closing cost different. That's different.
Yeah.
You're going to get hit harder.
I would say about 1.5 to 2 points.
Let's call it even just 1. You know
Yeah.
it's going to cost more. Some loans are different, and I'll explain that. Like how long you lock it in for. We have up to 60-day long-term locks, new construction locks, 15 days best pricing on it. And that's what your consultant helps with.
Yeah.
As a big part of it. But rates and cost differential. Second home and investments play a different part in the primary than your primary. Half a point more, you're usually going to pay about a point more in fees. That's a good chunk.
Yeah.
Now, it can make sense, especially I would have the seller pay some closing costs if you can negotiate that on. We've talked about that on one of these shows, right? I know we did.
Yeah.
Closing costs, episode 2.
Yep. Opposed to negotiating the price down, negotiate those closing costs right now. That's
I
how you
would
can get a
agree.
deal.
Keep the money in your pocket. Goes back to what we were just talking about in the last segment. So that's kind of nutshell. Now, is there a difference between second home and investment? No. Used to be. Used to be better priced to get a second home. Used to have better down payments for second home. Now they're almost identical to an investment property purchase. So who cares what your use will be for it? Buy it as an investment and do what you want.
Yeah.
I actually think more programs open up buying it as an investment. So this would be a good conversation to have. You want to VRBO a house, right? Well, you're going to be there some of the time. Do you buy it as a second home, or you could qualify for a program that you might not have qualified before, like DSCR, because you are saying it's an investment?
Yeah. I would go with the DSCR all day.
Why?
More programs, more investors as well, meaning that there's some investors that are out there just for investment properties. And then there's some programs that are out there just for investment properties, meaning DSCR, like you had mentioned, that being the biggest one, honestly.
I think it's priced well. The only negative to that is the prepayment.
Yeah.
And I think that the other loans don't have it, but it is priced different, better, I would say, rate-wise.
Yeah.
We've done several of them. That's a newer product program out for investors. So if you're interested in that and you're listening, go to fortheplan.com. You can get our contact info there as well. But that's been a hot product, I would say.
Yeah, very.
DSCR. What's it stand for? Do you know?
Debt service coverage ratio.
I'm glad you didn't do that to me. Wow, nice job. All right,
thank you,
because
thank
I would have been like, no, I don't know. I've heard it 80 million times. But as long as you're renting it out for enough, appraiser goes out and verify it, you're into the house, and we aren't looking at income on that. We're looking at your collateral.
Yeah.
And the rent return.
And this is the only loan out there that's really based specifically on the property and what the property will make. And it's not necessarily on the personal, other than your credit score. You need 2 months reserves. But this product, I think a lot of people think is, I can go in an investment property and have an appraiser go out there and say, this rents and you'll cash flow. You actually do need 20% down for this product.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Which is most of your second and investment you need anyway. The only negative with the DSCR is a prepayment penalty, usually 1-2%. You have options on that.
Yeah.
We don't need to break those down. But the heavier the prepayment penalty over a 2-3 year period, the cheaper your interest rate is for that fixed period.
And I say they're competitive, meaning if you put a 3-year prepayment penalty on, which means that you pay a percentage of the unpaid balance if you were to refi sell within that time. But I've noticed that it's right around average. Like I locked one in the other day for 7.5.
See, and what we'll do when you apply with us, I want to tell some people what the difference is. When you apply with us, we'll put all this next to each other. We'll show you what normal might be or DSCR is with the prepayment penalty included if you want to see that, which I think is important to your return. So we give you outlines, we give you options. That's what comes in our planning call. Go to fortheplan.com or you can call 855-4-THE-PLAN. Next tier I've got here is fraud. I wrote that one down. I think that is, why would someone lie, right? Why would someone lie? And that's a big part of the business, why they have these different investment pool, secondary pool, primary pool. People will come in and want to buy a rental and they're saying they're going to live there and they're not going to.
Yeah, I would love to buy a home at 5% down, but right on the head, that's fraud.
We get a lot of questions on, well, how long do I have to live there? Here's what's fraud in the mortgage business to me, what I've learned, it's your intentions, man. Where are your intentions set? Like, are you planning on moving in 2 weeks? You're just doing this to be a rental. Well, then that's wrong intentions.
Yeah.
So does things happen where families change? I know of medical conditions have changed for families after they purchased a house and they had to move very quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a great valid reason. Even expanding a family can change things. We've talked about that as well. So, that's the difference in the programs of fraud. I wrote that down because a lot of people will, that there's a lot of restrictions on it. It has nothing to do with the borrower. They're vetting you to make sure that you're doing the right deal here. Next one. Let's move on to something more fun. Best terms. We said that already. Primary, 25% down, I think, is the magic number on any pricing and anywhere you go for a loan on a mortgage.
Yep. That'll always get you the best terms.
And also, I guess points come in different. That would play a hair different. What about PMI differences? We jotted that down. It's interesting, second home, like if you did the 15% down, there is no PMI. You're getting jacked on the rate, though, and your fees.
Yeah. Like I
So
know
you're
that
paying it anyway.
we have jumbo products out there that can go 10% down.
No PMI.
No PMI, though.
And not a bad loan either, though.
However, the rate goes up a little bit.
Yeah, it does.
So that, I guess, where you're not paying PMI, I think that you would pay a difference in rate if you're going in second home investment. But primary, I mean, I always say the more you put down, the better the PMI gets.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and then when you get to 20, it's gone anyway, right? But even if you're going like, let's say 5% or 10%, 10% has a lower PMI factor.
Yeah, and I would say significantly less from what I've seen recently.
That plays a big part on prepaying the mortgage too, right? To get out of it faster, prepay some. Because if it goes off the balance plus your appreciation, you can be done with a lot of PMI in just a few years.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially with the appreciation we've seen as of late. Property types. Property types I wrote down. Now, we had a great deal. We'll call them the Smiths. Do you remember?
Yep.
We have to code their name. We can't tell you who these people are because they bought a house. The house was in the mountains. Now, you saw that.
Yeah, it was a beautiful
Did you
house.
look it up before the show?
I did, yeah.
Oh, you did again. I meant to do that. I actually said you should do it, and I was talking to myself.
Yep.
But I didn't do it. But the house was in the mountain. What was it? 50 acres?
Yep, just around there. I think it was just under 48 or so.
Well, close enough.
Yeah, right. It's a lot of land.
50 acres in the mountains. Beautiful views. House was. It was good.
Yeah,
it was a good
looking house, and it even had a couple side houses. I think one side house, but then it had a wedding venue to it.
Yeah, on top, not on top of it, but in the acreage.
Yep,
and
exactly.
That was massive, beautiful plumbing, electrical, blah blah blah.
Yeah, they had commercial bathrooms.
Knocked
and everything.
out landscaping, hundreds of thousands in landscaping.
Yeah,
I know it.
was
I
amazing.
remember that. I remember that part. And well, anyway, that was a unique deal. And the reason it was unique is because of the comparables that come with that property.
Yeah, not too many that compare to that one.
And family came together. You know, I mentioned on the last show, family coming together and buying a house, maybe where interest rates are, you both put 10% in or something like that, and even doing an LLC operating agreement to outline the terms. But that's really what they were doing. The Smiths, we're calling them. They had family involved where they were both leveraging it, making it a family compound. 50 acres, might peel off some later, might not, but what a place, man. Anyway, we couldn't do the loan.
Yeah.
Too unique. The property comparables aren't there. Now, we referred them to a place that could get it done.
Yeah.
And its terms were very favorable, but they do what's different than we do, portfolio the loan.
Yeah.
We don't have a ton of portfolio loans. We have some, but not on I would call that a wild animal, man. Beautiful.
I would
beautiful.
agree.
It's like a lion, you know, it's beautiful, but it's wild. That ain't going to fit.
Something we'd never seen before.
So one of the things you get with us as well as we're talking about this is if we don't have it, I want to put you in the right position or program to get it, right?
Yeah.
And check in to make sure that it follows through. And that goes all the way through to financial planning after the mortgage, getting the right CPA public account to help out with your taxes, also getting the right insurance in place, making sure that's being managed year after year to keep your mortgage payment down, as well as your coverage in place, and as well as the wills and trust, you know, as you build your foundation of your family. So we like to touch base on all of this stuff as part of the plan so you don't get rid of us after closing.
Yeah, exactly. On that Smith deal, I when you
They're
said
not really the Smiths.
yeah,
We made that up.
yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I'm still going off
Okay,
of the
all right,
Smiths.
good.
So on that one, I mean, would you say it's the acreage being 50,000, or is it that it's had some more to it rather than just a house to it?
More both. I
Yeah.
would say it's both.
Okay.
And the ADU, right? I'm saying that right. That's
Yep.
where you put the little building in the back. See, this wasn't even a thing back in the day, ADUs, but now it is a thing. And this was, if it was small, remember how we said a few outbuildings, but then they had the nice venue where you could actually do a wedding, plumbing, electrical, right?
Yeah.
That was massive, beautiful. That ain't no ADU.
Yeah.
That's
sure.
not a dinky little building out there. That's the Mac Daddy. Anybody would get married there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Right. Okay. Well, that's hard to compare that to an average house that may have an ADU of what, like a upgraded barn. I'm exaggerating,
Yeah.
but it was total difference, right?
Yeah, it's hard to find a like property with that acreage on top of it too.
Community bank is usually going to be your best bet on something like that. But a
Yeah.
good partner that also has the deal presented, man, I'll tell you, in my career, it's presenting the deal properly. So if you're not getting it through us, man, I would use our skills to be able to present the deal properly to who would lend on that. I think that's vitally important.
Which is exactly what he did. We referred him over to the bank, and he
Packaged
did that
it
quick.
up, brother. We
Yeah.
packaged it up and said, here, this is where we're struggling. Here's where I think it's still a win, and pointed out all the highlights. So when they get to that and the board to review it, they approved it.
Yeah,
And he's got a beautiful property. And I also asked for a free night.
yeah,
We're
good.
not allowed to do that. I'm sure that's against RESPA or something. I'm kidding. I'm just going to go
We
up and
didn't do
hang
the
out.
deal.
I won't stay the night. I don't even think he charges. It's not that kind of place. And I'm not getting married again. I like your mom.
Yeah,
All right.
good.
Okay. Good. All right. So multi-unit property types. We talked about the Smiths. Haha. And then we're moving into multi-unit primary investment. Now, I think this is cool. Hard to find.
Yeah,
Multi-unit, owner-occupied, beautiful 2-unit. You live in one half. They pay the whole bill. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
don't think that's realistic.
The perfect situation. But
Yeah, it's hard.
that
Because
is hard.
usually a building like that, I think of okay, you buy a $400,000 house, your payment's about $3,000. You got 1,500 on your side, 1,500 on the other side. You ain't getting no $3,000 on one side.
Yeah, that's true.
Even if you cut this into four, your price just went up. So it's going to be really hard to cash flow on that. You might have a discounted rate of living
Yeah, not much.
and
though.
lawn work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not sure is I'm not knocking that, but
Have you? I do want to ask. Have you ever owned a multifamily before?
yeah. Up to four. We had a couple
Oh,
four
wow.
units and a lot of 2 units were around, and those were I had quite a few of those.
Oh, yeah.
And that was okay. 1 unit was downstairs, 1 unit was upstairs.
Did you ever live in it as like your primary?
No.
Oh, well, going
Where would you go, upstairs or down? What would you pick?
downstairs.
Well, so okay, so I'm gonna be upstairs, poppity pop pop, music's coming, I'm banging on the floors. Yeah, I bet you would. We're listening to the plan. We'll be back. I got to talk some sense into that one. Welcome back to The Plan. This is Brad Roach, joined with Jacob Roche, the mortgage planner, 704-412-2727, or go to fortheplan.com, the number 4. You can type it in if you want, F-O-R too, theplan.com. Either one, brother, you get there.
Either works.
Love to help you out, even if you're not ready to buy. Can we give you a consultation? Can we help you with some of the advice? I hope that this series of Mortgage Planner University has been a complement to your investing. We've not leaving you hanging here on multi-units. We're going to go a little deeper on that. You are the downstairs guy. So I'm upstairs pounding on the floor. You do remember, right?
Yeah,
So you wouldn't go upstairs. No, because that's a pain in the butt to go upstairs all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Got to walk the stairs every time.
How about we do side units? That's better.
Yeah, that would
Not
be better.
upstairs, downstairs. See, there's a preference, man.
Yeah.
You got to think of this. It's whether you own it and the investment's good. I'm going to live there.
Yeah.
Like I want it to be comfortable too.
That's true. I didn't really think about the negatives that could come from somebody being upstairs at your house.
Renting
That's
it
fair.
to some big lady with heels upstairs. No way, dude.
Yeah,
You know
that's
how
true.
noisy that'd be at date night? You
Yeah,
know?
that's fair.
I'm going deep in that. Multi-unit, the best way to get one is cheap to get that though. 3%, you said you
Yeah.
could 3.5.
First time
FHA.
home buyer can go 3%. Going FHA, you can go as low as 3.5% down.
It's cheap.
Very. Yeah.
Cheap to get into something like that. And eventually you would move out, rent the 4th unit or 3rd unit, the one you occupy, and go buy a primary, single family usually.
Yeah. Single family the next
As you
time.
build in your portfolio, right? So it's a good one. Now, anything else you want to add on multi-units?
No, I don't. I mean, I guess 25% down minimum. It is for conventional.
If you're an investor, yeah.
Yep. And that's not for best terms. That's 25% needs to be for 4-unit.
How's DSCR off the hip compared to multi-units?
Actually, if you were to go DSCR, you could go 20% down on that.
Yeah, so and that's non-owner occupied. So Jacob handled the reason I referenced. Hey, what do you? Yeah, you handle a lot of DSCR loans
I
that
do.
are out there.
I
for
enjoy
us.
the DSCR. It's just because it's such a hot topic. I mean, if you scroll through Instagram, TikTok, you'll see something on DSCR at some point.
It's easier to buy it. You don't have to have a job.
Yeah.
You do.
Or no, you don't. No, you don't.
Okay,
need a
they
job.
don't ask.
No, yeah, you're
It
right.
has nothing to do with that.
All you need is 20% and 2 reserves, and everything else is property based.
Yeah.
Like the projected rental income comes from the appraisal.
The only risk on that deal, right, and investing in general is how much you have to put up front to hold the property until you close it.
Yeah.
Like that's nervous on the DSCR. It can be. Why? Because you're putting money up, waiting on the appraisal. You can run all the numbers you want, but that's the final
Yeah.
say.
The appraisal is the tell all.
Get it
on
in
numbers.
before your due diligence is up and try to do very light due diligence subject to the appraisal. That'd be a stronger offer.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I said. Anybody even going to purchase a DSCR in general, whether it's multifamily or single family, just order the appraisal.
And we're good at them. Bring them.
Yeah, don't put too much up in earnest due diligence, and it'll be a good
Seller
deal.
paid costs, going to hang on to it for a few years, or we calculate in the prepay
Yep.
based on what we're doing. This one's kind of funny, right? House hack. You want to explain that?
Yeah, that multifamily brings it right in. I think it's really renting out the rooms in your house. So if you have a single family house and you're renting out each individual room, I guess I'm not sure if you do keys and everything like that, but the common
Put a number on
areas.
the door, dude.
Yeah, right. Like
A
A1.
lot of guys, though, that we're making fun, but a lot of guys will do this with roommates they
Yeah.
knew. Like it wouldn't have been weird for you to buy a house, rent it out to a couple of your buddies when you got out of college. That would have been normal.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
now that I have a wife,
No,
she's
no,
not liking that.
No, that's fair. Hey, honey, we're gonna rent out the room. What do you think? You're newly married. You're nuts, man.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Yeah, so that's you're not hacking that house, huh?
Yeah, no,
No, I
we're
wouldn't
gonna
either.
leave that alone. But using
You know-
the common areas for living room would be shared.
It's like a
dining
dorm room.
Yeah,
I would not like it.
it would be interesting. It would.
I guess if
College
I'm
feel.
going to rent anyway, I would want to own it.
That's true.
And we had a model. If you go to fortheplan.com, scroll down, you'll see House Hack, right? You'll see it on there. We have it on the website. Click it. It has a comparison of buying an FHA house, I believe it is,
Yep.
and then buying an FHA house with the seller paying closing costs, and then buying an FHA house with the seller paying closing costs, and taking the House Hack money, renting 2 rooms. Like I think we used $1,500 in rent,
Yep.
and putting it on the mortgage, and it paid off in like 7 years.
Yep.
Unbelievable if you can do it.
It's probably the best way to go about investing.
If
starting
you
out.
can
Yeah.
live that way.
Exactly. Like my buddy, I think and he's a client too, but he was the one out in Elizabeth City. He bought a 3-bed, 2-bath, and he was in Coast Guard. So he rented out all the rooms, and he ended up moving to Hawaii. He got restationed out there, but he's still house hacking from Hawaii.
Wow.
But he actually cash flows on the property.
Yeah,
too.
and he's grabbing the appreciation as well. So
Exactly.
it can be there.
Yeah, depending on what stage of life you're in, what you're doing, like it's probably the best way to do it. I think.
Newlyweds, not so much
Yep.
the best way, but we've made a good comparison. You make your own call. There's our disclaimer, right? House hack, kind of cool, different. And there's a lot of house hacks, right? There's other things they call house hacking or no?
I mean, like an ADU, like you were saying, an additional unit, adding one of
renting that
those.
out.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah. Like some people put a shed in their backyard, finish it off, run plumbing to it, and they rent that out. Airbnb, I've seen.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I've had a couple clients ask for that too.
There's a lot of cool stuff there, like on Airbnbs now, though, that have like you can rent a redone boxcar
Oh yeah,
trailer.
a cargo.
Yeah, right.
Cargo home.
And
yeah.
I saw a show on it. They do a whole thing on that.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Now here's something interesting on the not multi-unit. Oh yeah, both multi-unit. We can count the rent on the other units to help you qualify for your next house or another purchase.
Yeah.
House hack can't count any of that.
No.
I don't even care if you show me all that money.
Yeah, if you have a lease signed and everything, we don't.
We don't care.
We don't care.
You can't because you're illegally renting it technically, right?
Yeah.
Are you not? I mean, you are.
Yeah.
It's not a multi-unit. So, but see, you're renting it to. I don't know. That's why I go along the lines of friends.
Yeah.
You're renting it to friends, cousin, uncles, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, but house hacking, that's been a big topic too. It's like that in DSCR.
That's smart. I get the house hack. I get it. I think DSCR is a great program because I don't think it's any worse than some of the other ones that are out there pricing wise, rate wise, cost wise. The only big difference is the prepay.
I guess the house hacking is probably the best. Like if you can't find a 2-unit out there, but you want to start investing, I would say that's probably the best way to do it. If there's no 2 units available to start house hacking.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
And you're at the age where it would make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. HELOC differences. A lot of people call and want a HELOC on an investment property or second home. What do you say?
I say
Bye-bye.
I'm not sure who offers that,
Not,
quite honestly.
not happening. It's hard to. It's hard. There's a couple out. I
have
know
seen
of,
that.
but
The rate, I believe, was at 13 when I checked.
yeah, right.
So we don't really.
It's worse than
even
that first
offer it.
offer I had on the Jeep,
Yeah,
man. Right, right.
exactly.
Come on, get
Well,
out of here.
It's what we often recommend is go and get one on your primary.
Yeah, for sure. Even before you plan to readjust that to a rental property, I would see if you could maximize your equity return
Yeah.
and get the lowest rate on it, so you don't have because you go to refinance one that you move out of to rent, your rate's going to be higher.
Yeah.
So
And right now, I think like I'm looking at a HELOC personally, actually, and it was prime plus 1 on your primary.
So 6.5%, 7% is not a bad deal.
Yeah. Versus 13. I'll take that all day.
Well, and well, it's not just that. It's more limited combined loan to value. Did we talk
Yeah.
about that in the other show? CLTV, combined loan to
I
value.
don't believe so.
We talked about DSCR, CLTV. I got you one right here. But CLTV is the first and the second. So if you have an 80%, you owe 80. Let's say you have a $100,000 house, you owe 80,000. You're at 80% loan to value. Well, if you get a second for 20,000 on that same house, that's a 80-20 or 100% CLTV, combined loan to value.
Yeah, and I know that some credit unions, banks out there do go up to 100% loan
Yeah,
to
but
value.
not
right
on
now.
no investment.
No,
No,
on investment,
no.
They might go to 75.
That's what
on
I'm saying.
13%.
Right.
It's
So if yours was let's say you move out of your house tomorrow, right? And you went to get a HELOC on it as an investment, you would get no money.
Yep.
Now, if you did it, you would get 60, 70 grand.
Yeah.
Crazy difference. So what you got to get your plan together.
Yep.
Get
your
imagine
ducks
I'm
in a row.
mentioning that. Get your plan together. 704-412-2727 is our direct dial. Go 855 for the plan. We've been in Mortgage Planner University and we are loving it. We've got 6 hours of it. You're in the last hour of the training. And I think it's gone great. I
Yeah.
loved all the help and feedback you've given. This has been awesome doing.
Thank you.
Especially doing it together. It's been very fun.
Yeah, it's been a fun time.
Hope all these, we haven't been used to the cameras. I hope all of these people have enjoyed it as well.
Yeah.
Meaning we don't look at cameras when we talk at home or wherever we're at.
True.
You know? We don't live together. He's not hacking his house with me either. The way I said that. Qualifying, we got a little bit of time left in this segment, but qualifying, a lot of the primary, secondary investment, and we'll touch on LLC just a bit, maybe a little on commercial. But there's a lot of programs within the occupancy,
Yeah.
that you can pick from. Full
Yeah.
documentation, bank statements. I want to break down a few of those as we grow into it. ForThePlan.com, Mortgage Planner University. Been very fun. We're getting it done. We got a few more drops for you. And then you should graduate. Are they graduating? Where's the certificate? There's got to be
Let's get a
something to get out of
ceremony.
here. We'll have a ceremony. It'll be that next house. We'll see you in just a few. Welcome back to The Plan. This is Brad Roach, joined with Jacob Roche, the Mortgage Planners, 704-412-2727 direct dial. You're in Mortgage Planner University, and you're at the For the Plan, and we're giving you a map and a road, and we got all kinds of stuff. Make sure you get into the university. It's free. Doesn't cost you anything. Lots of handouts. We have a lot of case studies. We're going to make you smarter, hopefully give you some of our experience that we've established through clientele and owning our own properties to give you an edge on buying your next house. So we're digging into primary, secondary investment. We didn't touch on LLC much or commercial, and I want to talk about some of the different programs that fall underneath primary, secondary, and investment.
Yeah.
Which is, why don't we start rattling these off? Full documentation. That's everything. Your blood type would be needed.
Yeah.
Right.
That's conventional, FHA, USDA, VA. They're all government entities.
Tax returns,
Yep.
pay stubs a month, right? Your
W-2s, yep.
standard stuff.
Yep, exactly. So
If you're self-employed, not claiming any money, you're not getting those loans.
yeah, so then depending on what you're going to purchase, but if you're going to look to buy a primary, we would go with what's called no ratio, meaning we don't need a job, we don't need employment, we just need 20% down.
The good old days. You're talking about your days. This is the good old days. Now, back in the day, you didn't have to have a good credit score. This case with the no ratio and no employment, you do have to have a good score.
Yep, with a down payment too this time.
Yeah, yeah, we didn't have to have a down payment either. That's what I said. Those days, man, those were crazy. So that would be a no ratio. But if you're doing an investment or second, you can do bank statements, personal or business, 12 or 24. The difference why we would do 12 or 24. You know what I mean? Like some people, why the heck would I give you 24 if I only have to give you 12? Because 24 might average more income to qualify for more.
Yeah, and also I think that I know that it also is more verification. So meaning instead of just 1 year, we have the past 2 years of what you were doing.
Get a better rate on that.
Yeah, so you do get a better rate, better terms on it.
Now, it also could hurt you. It could do the other way. You had a rough year the 1 year, and it could go the whole
That's
other
true.
way around, right?
That is true.
It could. So we look at that. That's part of, remember I said turn it in, right? That's
Yeah.
a big deal on any of the loans that you're doing.
So I would say on these that we're referring to, if you don't qualify the conventional way, meaning FHA, VA, conventional, USDA, these are the options that we're going to. But on these, I would say the bank statements that, like we had just mentioned, that you can buy primary, second home, or investment, I would say 1%, 0.5% higher than typical.
Yeah, it's not terrible. We just closed one last week, a bank statement program. Those were personal bank statements.
Yeah, and I think that was just a 0.5% higher. So rates right.
$2 million loan almost.
Yeah.
And that was still a smart buy for him.
Yeah. So I think right now, or when we closed that, we were around 7, locked in at 7.5 is what he closed at. So they're in line still.
That's very competitive.
Yeah,
I
agree.
think with any kind of property right now, within a 0.5 point. So that's what you're looking at. See, there was no prepayment penalty on it either.
Yeah, exactly. That's one of the benefits to these here.
Bank statement wise. Now, jumbo, I listed down. We've rattled off USDA, VA, FHA, conventional. Those are all your primary only. Let me say that again. Primary residence only. That's VA. If you're a veteran, use that, man. Best program out. USDA, weird maps you have to follow, find the house in the right neighborhood. FHA can go anywhere, and there's a lot of zero downs that go with that. And conventional Fannie Freddie are all primary. And then I'll caveat this with at the end there, Fannie Freddie will also let you do investments with more down. That covers a lot of them. Full doc. So the best deals, are based on underneath all of these programs. Now, LLC. I've had a lot of people, they don't have an LLC or want to set one up, and we will help you with some of the details on that, at least point in your right direction. Have good experience with that, but you don't need to put the property in it when you buy it. I don't. You can do your books right and do your taxes right, and I think you'll come out with a lot of the benefits. Consult your CPA, tax advisor, but I'm telling you that you actually pay more by putting it in an LLC, like quarter higher.
Yeah.
I know we've done it.
Yeah, there is some added cost to it, and yeah, you don't even
It's
need
like,
to
why?
close in that. Yeah, you don't need to close under your LLC's name. It can be under your personal name, which is easier most times too.
People will ask, can I transfer it once I'm done? The answer is no, you can't. It says in the note, due on sale. And technically, is that a due on sale if you transfer the title? Like if I give my title to you, did I sell it? Well, not really. I just transferred it to you, but it's the same person, right? In this regard.
Yeah,
It's kind of confusing. So it's not like it's going to get called due. I've never heard anyone doing that, but it could trigger that. So that's where some will steer away from even doing it. Now, I think you get the similar tax benefits, if not the same, having it in your personal name and doing your books properly.
yeah,
Get a good tax advisor. Have someone on the team that advises on that. And it costs more. The more LLCs you have, the more it costs you tax filings as well, with similar benefits. Now, commercial's a hair different. So really, we'll advise on a case by case for the LLC. Let me wrap it up with that. And then commercial. Now, if you are buying investments, I do need to mention this. If you're buying an investment and you don't have an LLC set up, that's stupid. You can get a lot of benefits off of having that set up in general.
Well, I think it'd be good for us to touch on what are some of the benefits of doing an LLC. I think a lot of people think it's for protection.
I don't think
For
it's
themselves?
that. I think you'd get an umbrella.
I agree.
That's in our investment seminar. We've talked about that on that seminar. You can get that at fortheplan.com as well. No, I think it's for the operating agreement if you have partners. That's one. But two, depending on your income, it's a huge tax advantage having your books done properly, having bills run through there that are expenses for your company.
Yeah, like
Huge benefit.
example I've heard, writing off office space at your home, your
Sure.
personal home.
It's cell phone, a lot of
Yeah.
stuff like that. Some people belong to investor websites and things. You could deduct any of these things that coincide with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
costs that go along with any rental
It
property.
adds up quick. If you can write off $5,000-$10,000, that's a lot of income you didn't pay taxes on, depending on your tax bracket. Save you $5,000-$10,000 a year, maybe, if
Yeah.
not more.
And I think that's the biggest benefit of the LLC. It's not as much for protection. While it may have some.
Get an umbrella
Yeah.
policy. It's a layer that they have to pierce, correct?
Yeah.
So get an
So,
umbrella policy on top of it.
but I think that probably is the best benefit with your W-2 income. Well, I guess being self-employed too, but the biggest benefit coming from tax benefits.
Yeah, it's good. And people don't count that in their cash flow.
Yeah.
Do that. If you did that, see, think about that, right? Remember, we were just talking about your personal situation. Think about the tax benefit you would have with the LLC, which you have set up now.
Yeah.
But then you're running some stuff through it. Yeah, that changes how much money you're paying out in taxes as well.
So like some things that I had come to mind because I was looking at a property up in Virginia was
I'm not licensed there.
yeah, that is one of the
What
problems.
are we doing? What are we doing?
But
You're not licensed there.
Yeah,
All right,
true.
get your own loan.
yeah, we got to go find somebody there.
I'll have a plan for you. Just can't follow through with it. All right, go ahead.
But cleaning. After every time somebody stays at Airbnb, you have to clean it. So what is the cleaning fee per time they stay?
Yeah.
Let's call it $100 every time somebody local that cleans it. That's $400 per month. Somebody staying there every weekend. That's $400 that I could write off monthly, totaling the whole year. Driving up there, it's 2 hours away. That's gas money. That's
Mileage.
That's
Yeah.
food stopping on the way even. But I think there's a lot of things that can go into it. The furniture that I'll have to buy to furnish the Airbnb, could be a significant write-off there.
I think that's where you're getting properly set up and organized when you're buying stuff like this makes the most sense, regardless of what program you go with. Man, did we cover a lot of topics on here?
Yeah,
Multi-unit, house hacking, HELOC differences. We closed on that.
yeah.
Yeah, you're not getting much on the HELOC unless it's primary. Property types. We talked about the Smiths.
Yeah,
Still get it. Just got to know where to go get it.
I would like to bring the LLC to that example with the Smiths. You said that we referred them to a bank. They closed it. Now, why would they do that?
Put it in an LLC. Why did the bank do it?
Yeah.
They don't have to sell the loan.
Do
Different guidelines too, and they might even be able to lend it under a commercial umbrella as well.
Do you think that he has a business account that he runs and they see cash flow in there from other investment that he's doing currently?
He
Is
didn't
that
have a relationship with the bank
Oh,
when we introduced him. So
I was
no.
just curious. I didn't
No,
know.
they liked the deal. We presented it. They liked the deal. He had enough down. It was a couple borrowers, family members coming on it. It was a strong loan, unique property. The fact of the matter is, if you took it back, meaning the bank foreclosed on it, they would want it. They're going to make a profit.
That's true.
Yeah, so that's what,
Okay.
on our end of it, it's kind of weird because on the secondary market, which is a lot of lending companies like ours, Element Home Loans, we have good products, some portfolio stuff, different lenders, but rather if it doesn't fit the box, especially on a jumbo, your community bank's going to be a good one to follow
Okay.
for a deal.
Yeah, that makes
And,
sense.
and we want to point you in the right direction regardless. If we don't have the best deal, I want to make sure you get the best deal wherever it is. And I hope to be able to do it. We hope to be able to do it. But by all means, I want you to also to be comfortable introducing us to the people you care about in the future of getting a mortgage. So when you're out there and you're passing on this Mortgage Planner University, do us a favor. Tell your friends, pass this on. We need the help.
Yeah.
Get it out there to them. We want to spread the word. We want to help out with the mortgage, get them a plan. Our business is built on referrals and education stuff like this to make it better for clients going through the process. I love this part of it.
Yeah, me too. It's the best part about it all.
All right, so commercial. Let's dig in here. That's a little different model. I've done plenty of commercial personally. Never did lending on commercial though. Never. So I've always done residential lending, and that's under your 4 units or more, 5 units, in other words, is going to be commercial. Now, we have products, which has kind of been fun.
Yeah.
We can do a DSCR up to what, 8?
It was yes. It's looked at
Crazy.
a little
8
bit
unit.
different, but 5 to 8 units is what they consider still. Well, the SCR is considered business purpose. However, that's not traditional to be able to come through us to get an 8 unit.
Yeah, I would agree. I've
So-
never done that in the past.
So we can go, as long as they're on the same parcel, we can go up to 8 units for DSCR.
And that's a different product doing that. I'm sure they need more down.
Yeah.
Got to have more down on that. There may be other options around it, but commercial is just a different animal. Like a commercial building, or building a strip mall, or building commercial, not just building, but buying, selling. Softer market, I would steer more. More people need residential. Like if I'm investing here, let's just say it this way. If I'm investing, more people need houses than they do rental office space, especially after COVID.
I agree.
So I wouldn't want near as what commercial properties I owned in the past compared to now. I wouldn't want it because of where the market's at.
I would agree. I think even our office right now, while I love our office, I have to say we could work
All of us could go remote. Now,
We
are
could.
you as effective? There's a lot of arguments. We're not here to debate that at all in any means. We're just saying watch it a little bit because everybody needs a house and they open a lot of programs. Even when rates tend to be up or down, they're opening up new products for clients to get in all the time.
Yep.
We want to help. So go to For the Plan. We got a few seconds left here. Go to For the Plan. Great job on doing Mortgage Planner University. Had a blast. I know I mentioned it again, but thank you for participating.
Yeah.
You did a great job with me on this. Couldn't have done it without him. And you guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for enjoying it. Thank you for being a part of it. Pass it on to a friend. Scan the QR codes we got on the site. And always, when you need something, get a plan. Go to fortheplan.com. Have a great week.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.